sandwiches, ice cream, coffee and snacks, and many other pleasing treats. Our foods are fresh and tasty, our drinks satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
Welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In.
And now, on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In, episode number 38, Reviewcast. I am your host, TJ Washburn. I hope you guys are all doing well, having a good week. Lot of stuff to cover in this one. Quite a good variety too, actually. I got some documentaries, some stand-up comedy, some TV shows, and a whole bunch of movies. So in the movies, action, comedy, horror, a little bit of this and that, and yeah. So other than that, there's not a whole hell of a lot going on right now. I have a bunch of cool guests lined up, and just working on a few things here and there, throwing some ideas around that I can use to improve the show and help make it a better experience for you, the listener. So if you guys have any comments or suggestions, feel free to hit up the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Average Joe's Drive-In Podcast. Hit me up on Instagram, TWJAuthor. Hit me up on Twitter at TWJAuthor. Instagram, sorry, is Thomas Washburn Jr., not TWJAuthor. That is the Twitter handle. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Been a long week so far. A lot of crazy up and down weather here in the beautiful state of Maine. Some rain, some high temps, some below freezing, some snow, some ice. It's just been a little bit of everything, kind of wacky, which is good in a way because it makes for some excellent movie viewing weather. Not that there's really ever a bad time to watch movies, but I always get in that mood when the weather really sucks. I just want to hunker down and watch stuff, and that's pretty much what I've been doing for the last week or two. I'm finally getting over my cold here, and I'm finally feeling a little better. And yeah, so I'm going to jump into this right now. And the first thing I want to talk about is Joe Rogan Live from 2006. Has a runtime of 58 minutes. Rated TVMA format. I watched this one on Netflix. Synopsis. Regardless of Joe Rogan's success on television with the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or hosting Fear Factor, or co-starring in news radio, his true love is stand-up comedy. With more than 15 years as a touring comedian, Rogan has honed an opinionated comedic style that challenges the status quo, from his unorthodox ideas for peace in the Middle East to debunking the myth of Noah's Ark and appreciating the vastness of space. All of the energy of a live Joe Rogan performance is captured on Joe Rogan Live. And don't forget Joe's amazing podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. One of my personal favorites that I listen to every week, pretty much. He does put out a massive amount of content, though, so it's nearly impossible to keep up unless you have one of those jobs where you can listen to his show all day, and you could probably do it. But for me, with my commute, it takes me 2 or 3 days to listen to an episode, so I usually get one in a week around all the other stuff I listen to. But yeah, so getting on to this special, though. This early Netflix special of Joe Rogan is one I haven't seen. I'm a huge Rogan fan as both a comedian and a podcaster. I finally sat down and watched it, and I was not disappointed. While it's not quite as rapid-fire hit as some of his later specials, there's plenty of gold moments scattered throughout. It's also nice to see Joe's the same inquisitive guy he is today, even back then. It's hard to imagine, but this special is 12 years old. This is worth a watch if you're a fan of his work or like stand-up comedy. In my honest opinion, he's one of the best comedians of this generation. He's not afraid to breach subjects a lot of comedians shy away from, And more often than not, there's some thought-provoking discussion mixed in with the comedy. Like I said, it's solid but not as good as some of the newer ones, but as a whole, it is a lot of fun. Also, this has one of the best bits I've ever heard from him. Easily one of my favorites. The only way I wouldn't watch this one, if you're very sensitive or easily offended, this isn't your classic late night TV comedy show. This is more in the vein of Carlin, Hicks, Murphy, and Pryor. If you like your comedy safe and wholesome, this is absolutely not for you. This is currently available on Netflix to stream, so check it out. My rating on this one was a 7 out of 10. The IMDb rating for this one was 7.4 out of 10. And I'm going to get a documentary series that I watched. It's been out for a while, and I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years. But, yeah. And there's no trailer for this that has any talking, so I didn't bother to throw this in. So I want to get this out of the way along with the Rogan special, which also has no trailer. That isn't just music. But, and that is 2006 Planet Earth. There's 11 episodes, rated TVG, and it is available on Netflix. The synopsis: Emmy Award winning, 11 episodes, 5 years in the making, the most expensive nature documentary series ever commissioned by the BBC, and the first to be filmed in high definition. As I said, I've seen bits and pieces of this over the years, but I've never been able to watch the whole thing. That is until now. Thankfully, Netflix added both this and Planet Earth 2. When I found out, I was very excited, and I immediately added both to my queue and started in. This is a beautiful documentary. If you like nature and learning, you couldn't ask for a better experience. This is something I think is absolutely great for the whole family, too. Something you can sit down with your kids or your spouse, your significant other, whoever, friends, and watch this. It's very captivating, very interesting. While I would say it's damn near perfect, there are a few slow moments here and there, which there's bound to be and expected in something that's nearly 9 hours long. Even with the occasional slow part, the amazing visuals are more than enough to make up for them. I'm glad I was finally able to view this start to finish. It's one I'm sure I'll revisit down the road again. That doesn't happen very often when it comes to documentaries, so that right there says a lot about this whole series and just how amazing it is. My rating on this one is a 9 out of 10. The IMDb rating on this is a 9.4 out of 10. And before we dive into the movie reviews, I did finish up Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2 from 2016.
Jacksonville, I love you! I know you do. Hey, I love me too!
Can I, touch it? My God.
Son of a bitch. Not again.
Oh, shit!
We're gonna go to Elk Grove, Michigan. That's my hometown. Then put an end to this horse pucky once and for all.
Whatever happened in this town seems to really haunt him.
Ash, I had to summon you. Help me retrieve the book and send them back to hell.
Oh, you need my help. Here's what I need. I need to be back in Jacksonville on my second keg of beer, putting my spicy man meat into a mother-daughter sandwich.
Part of me is already regretting calling you here.
Get used to that feeling. We gave peace a chance. Now it's time for war.
You won't die like all the others.
Ladies first.
That is horrible and also awesome.
Which is everything that I do.
There's 10 episodes. It's rated TV MA. Stars Bruce Campbell, Ray Santiago, and Dana DiLorenzo, and Lucy Lawless. I watched this on Netflix. Show synopsis. Ash has spent the last 30 years avoiding responsibility, maturity, and the terrors of the evil dead until a deadite plague threatens to destroy all of mankind, and Ash becomes mankind's only hope. I finished up season 1 recently and did that in a previous review cast, and I started in on season 2 almost immediately. While not blown away by season 1, I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of potential moving forward, especially with how strong the second half of the season on 1 was. Season 2 did not disappoint. It took off where season 1 finished. I absolutely loved the gore, and the comedic beats were spot on. It was a perfect blend that worked in all the right ways for me. One of the biggest things in areas of improvement were the further development and fleshing out of Kelly and Pablo. Those characters really stood on their own 2 feet this season. That to me is also what really pushed it beyond season 1. It also has some amazing guest appearances and cameos. Again, if you are a fan of the original Evil Dead movies, I would be shocked if you didn't enjoy this show. I highly recommend you check it out. My rating on this was a 9 out of 10. The IMDb rating on this was an 8.6 out of 10. So let's get into some movies, why don't we? First up, I want to talk about one that I have been dying to see, and that is 2017's Kong, Skull Island.
An uncharted island. Let me list all the ways you're gonna die. Rain, heat, disease-carrying flies, and we haven't started on the things that want to eat you alive.
We'll double them.
Plus a bonus if we make it back. If?
In this dirty old part of the city where the sun refused to shine.
Is that a monkey?
He's God on the island.
We don't belong here.
But the devils live below us. I call them skull crawlers. Why? Because it sounds neat.
Okay.
Look, I just made that name up. I'm trying to scare you.
I'm fine calling them that. Are you cool with it?
Yeah, that seems like
I
good.
like the name.
This film was directed by Jordan Vaught Roberts, has a runtime of 118 minutes, rated PG-13, stars Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, and many more. I watched this one on Blu-ray. Synopsis. Scientists, soldiers, and adventurers unite to explore a mythical, uncharted island in the Pacific Ocean. Cut off from everything they know, they venture into the domain of the mighty Kong, igniting the ultimate battle between man and nature. As their mission of discovery soon becomes one of survival, they must fight to escape from a primal world where humanity does not belong. This was one of the films I had every intention of seeing in the theater last year, but life got busy and I was unable to find the time to go. I didn't even bother watching it before I purchased it, just for the fact I had a good feeling I'd enjoy it. That, and I'd heard nothing but good reviews from friends who had watched it. This is a damn fun film. It's got a good blend of action, effects, and a decent storyline. The acting was also great, but that was to be expected with the all-star cast they put together for it. For summer blockbuster fare, this certainly did its job and then some on the entertainment scale. The CGI effects in this are spot on. They looked amazing. Even knowing it's CG, I never once was distracted by it, which does happen from time to time in these type of films. You know, you get something just doesn't quite look right, or the color doesn't, it does happen. It's not a huge deal. It's a nitpicky thing, but sometimes it does take you out of the movie. I never once had that feeling in this film. If I can sum up Kong Skull Island in one word, it would be fun. Sometimes that's all I want out of a film, and this provides that in spades. If you haven't seen this film yet and like action-packed giant monster movies, this will scratch that itch and leave you with a big, dumb grin on your face. I know it did for me. My rating on this one was an 8.5 out of 10. The IMDb rating on this is a 6.7 out of 10. Up next, this one completely come out of left field, and that is 2017's The Vault.
I hate sirens. Is there a problem?
Get out!
Back up!
Safety deposit vault. Let's go.
We're not leaving without the money! Where's the money?
It's down below. That's where the real money is. In the old vault. No, it's a private vault. Antiquated. It's off the grid.
There's people down here. There's people down here.
What is he looking at?
No lies, short answers. Who's down there?
Michael! Where are you?
There's something down there in the basement. We're not alone.
This film was directed by Dan Bush, has a runtime of 91 minutes, it's not rated, stars James Franco, Taryn Manning, and Francesca Eastwood. I watched this one on Netflix. Synopsis. Two estranged sisters are forced to rob a bank in order to save their brother. But this is no ordinary bank. Once in a while, you go into a movie blind and with low expectations. That's often the case on Netflix, especially when you've never heard anything about the movie, don't know anything about it, you've never even seen a trailer, anything. It happens. Sometimes it's a crapshoot. That was the case for me with The Vault. Sometimes that helps the experience even more. I knew zero about the film. I didn't watch a trailer or anything. I just clicked play. Holy shit, is this movie amazing. I'm going to include the trailer in the review, but I recommend you just go find it on Netflix and watch it. Honestly, I was blown away. The only thing I'll tell you about it is it's a bank heist movie, but oh, so much more. Horror nerds, I am looking at you. I'm going to keep it at that just to be as vague as possible because I don't want to give anything away that might spoil it. If I had that done, or I guess if I had done a favorite of 2017 list, this would have been on it. Wow, I still can't get over how amazingly good this film was. Don't let the shitty IMDb rating sway you from checking this out. The only way I would not recommend this one is if you like your films bland, vanilla, and by the numbers, with everything spoon-fed to you. This isn't that movie. I have a feeling that also has to do with the low IMDb rating. I will say there's a few little plot hole type things in it, but I mean, for what the movie is and the type of movie it is, I could suspend my disbelief a little bit and just kind of go with the flow because it's just that type of thing. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you can. And, I'm able to do it with this one. My rating on this was an 8.5 out of 10. The IMDb rating on this is a 4.8 out of 10. Like I said, do not let the really shitty low IMDb rating sway you on this one because I just think I really do. I think it's one of those cases where people are expecting one thing and they don't quite get what they're expecting, or it's not as straightforward as what they wanted, so it kind of throws them for a loop, and then they're like, takes them out of it a little bit, and then they hate it. I absolutely 100% understand not everybody is into the same thing, but if you listen to this show and you generally think my ratings and recommendations are pretty spot on, I really think you'll enjoy this one, and I actually would love to hear from you guys listening what you think about this. So as I've said before, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook or Twitter, and tell me what you thought of The Vault after you're done watching it, because I'm going to be really curious to see if you thought, you think the same way I did about it, or felt the same way I did about it, or maybe you hate it. But I would be interesting to hear your thoughts on this one. So we're going to move right along to another film that I hadn't seen. There's almost everything here that I'm reviewing today I've never seen, or there's only a few things. And that is 2009's Pandorum.
Where's the rest of the crew?
I don't really know, sir.
It's Lieutenant Payton. Anyone respond?
Where is everyone? Peyton. Our wives. They're here somewhere on board.
Hello?
Hello? Someone's been through here.
Don't move. You just wake up.
Yeah.
You'll never make it.
Those things out there. They didn't seem human.
They're fast. They're stronger than you know.
they come after you, run. If you run and you don't look back. Help me!
What's happened to us?
We're becoming like them.
Oh my God.
My wife. I'm gonna find her before those animals do.
And assume that help will be coming.
Is that your blood? Some of it is.
What happened to the passengers?
There's something wrong with them. They were hunting. How do you think you would react if you knew the truth?
This film was directed by Christian Albert, has a runtime of 108 minutes, rated R, stars Dennis Quaid, Ben Foster, and Cam Gigandet. I watched this one on Blu-ray. The synopsis. True crew members are stranded on a spacecraft and quickly and horrifically realize they are not alone. 2 astronauts awaken in a hypersleep chamber aboard a seemingly abandoned spacecraft. It's pitch black. They're disorientated, and the only sound is a low rumble and creak from the belly of the ship. They can't remember anything. Who are they? What is their mission? With Lieutenant Peyton staying behind to guide him via radio transmission, Corporal Bauer ventures deep into the ship and begins to uncover a terrifying reality. Slowly, the spacecraft's shocking, deadly secrets are revealed, and the astronauts find their own survival is more important than they could have ever imagined. Keeping on my recent sci-fi kick, I threw in a film I knew little about other than it was supposed to be good, from what I'd heard anyway. Boy, oh boy, this is right up there as one of the better sci-fi films I've seen in a while. It very much has an Aliens vibe to it without blatantly ripping it off. I like how things played out. The pacing was great. It flowed well. It has a very dark vibe, and the ending was badass. I'll be honest. There really wasn't a whole hell of a lot I didn't like about this one. There was nothing that wowed me about the actors' performances, but they were all serviceable, and never once did a character take me out of the film. The effects are well done, but not crazy. There's some CGI stuff towards the end that's a bit obvious, but overall it works well. This has a very 80s sci-fi vibe to it, and I am absolutely okay with that. The only thing I felt was kind of off was the lack of a score, or the fact I didn't even notice one if it was in there. That's one thing I find integral to setting the tone in a good sci-fi. A score can really make or break the mood and enhance the tone of a film. For sci-fi, that is even more obvious, especially when there's some horror-type elements thrown in. While this definitely isn't a horror film, there are bits and pieces that I would consider in that vein. If you haven't watched this one, like dark sci-fi with plenty of action and a smidge of horror thrown in, I highly recommend checking it out. I think this one, with a bigger budget, this one could have been a film more people would be chatting about. Even as it is, it's a damn good film. My rating on this one was an 8 out of 10. The IMDb rating on this was 6.8 out of 10. So I got a couple more to talk about, and this is another one that I missed in the theater that I had heard, kind of mixed reviews about, but the majority I think people liked it, and that is 2017's It Comes at Night.
I just want to talk. And I want honest answers. Do you have any idea what's going on out there? I'm gonna try and help you and your family. I want to thank you again for letting us stay here.
Just gonna run through a few things. When we go out during the day, we like to stick to groups just for safety. The red door. It's the only way in and out of the house. It stays closed and locked all the time. I have the keys. It's the only set. Most important thing.
What's he see? It's okay. Just go inside.
We never go out at night.
The door was already open when you got there.
Yeah.
Then who opened it?
I think they're sick. Why's your mask on? Nobody's sick here.
Can't trust anyone but family.
You don't get it.
How old are you, Travis?
If they're sick, then I am too.
If you're lying to me, I will kill you.
This film was directed by Trey Edward Schultz, has a runtime of 91 minutes, rated R, stars Joel Edgerton, Christopher Abbott, and Carmen Ejogo. I watched this one on Amazon Prime. The synopsis. Secure within a desolate home as an unnatural threat terrorizes the world, the tenuous domestic order he has established with his wife and son is put to the ultimate test, with the arrival of a desperate young family seeking refuge. Despite the best intentions of both families, paranoia and mistrust boil over as the horrors outside creep ever closer, awakening something hidden and monstrous within him as he learns that the protection of his family comes at the cost of his soul. I was delighted to hear this one finally arrived on one of the streaming services. I'd heard mostly good things about it, so I was anxious to check it out. This was one I'd almost gone and watched in the theater, like I said, but I just didn't get a chance to do so. The film is very well shot, and the performance by the actors are solid all around. Joel Edgerton shines in this one and plays his character perfectly. You border on being sympathetic towards him and thinking he's a flat-out asshole. It gets you in the mindset of what he's thinking and how you would react faced with a similar situation. There's plenty of uncomfortable tension built up throughout the film. Hints of what might be going on are scattered throughout. You begin to try and piece together what you think might be happening and where it's going. In the end, it leaves you with more questions than answers. There are too many ifs, what ifs. While that isn't always a bad thing, I wanted more resolution here. I'm not gonna lie, this film is slow, which I normally don't mind, but holy hell, the payoff, at least for me, was a disappointing end to the ride. That right there isn't what I want out of a film like this. I need something shocking, something gut-wrenching, something that makes me go, holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't feel like I got that. I'll be honest, I think it may have to do more with personal preference over anything that's wrong with the film. This is definitely a one and done for me, but I would still encourage others to check it out, if for nothing else other than the awesome performance by Edgerton. I almost feel bad giving it the rating I am, but it's how I feel. If a few little things had been different, I could honestly see myself giving this 1.5 to 2 points higher for rating. Even with all that said, I'm interested to see more work by the director, because there is definitely something there. Something a friend of mine brought up was this film feels like the second act of a movie. You don't feel like you really get a beginning or an end. And not that that is really a big problem by any means, but it's just, it's different. It's a different way to view a movie, and I think that may throw some people off too. But like I said, this one kind of more or less seems to be kind of divisive. It's either really seems to be people that love it or just kind of my rating on it was a 5 out of 10. The IMDb rating was a 6.2 out of 10. And we're going to wrap it up with a film I haven't seen in a long time, and I've really been interested and wanted to come back and revisit this series. And that is 2010's Hatchet II.
Who's Victor Crowley? Local boogeyman story about a maniac who haunts Honey Island.
Victor Crowley is real. I saw him. He murdered everyone in front of me.
You want revenge on Victor Crowley? We're not going in there alone. We need help. We need guns.
All these people are in danger, and they don't even realize it.
What you need to do is turn that frown upside down.
In 2011, returned to his swamp.
Did you hear something?
And try to hold on.
You're gonna get us all killed.
To all your pieces.
Shut the door!
It's too late.
No! It's a trap!
The film they didn't want you to see in theaters is now available on demand.
I am gonna bury that hatchet deep into his face!
Adam Green's Hatchet II.
Go to hell!
The film was directed by Adam Green, has a runtime of 85 minutes, it's rated R, stars Danielle Harris, Kane Hodder, and Tony Todd. I watched this one on Amazon Prime. The synopsis: Mary Beth escapes the clutches of the Bayou Butcher, Victor Crowley, and returns to the swamp with an army of hunters and gunmen, determined to end Crowley's reign of horror once and for all. The Hatchet movies are a ton of fun. They're a throwback to late 70s, early 80s horror that was over the top and gory as hell. I've only seen the first two films, but it's been years since I saw either, one or two, which I enjoyed both when I saw them. I was extra excited to revisit 2 and check it out 3 when I found they were available for streaming on Amazon Prime. One of the things that I love about the Hatchet series, they know what they are. They don't try to gloss things over, to embrace everything, and they embrace everything that was fun and awesome about those early slasher films. Also, they managed to create a cool, fun new horror legend in Victor Crowley, played by none other than Mr. Kane Hodder himself. The effects work well, and the movie moves along at a brisk pace. It gets going and doesn't stop until it's over. Oh yeah, it's loaded up with 3 very iconic horror actors. Kane Hodder, Jason from Friday the 13th, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The amazing Tony Todd, Night of the Living Dead, Candyman, Final Destination, and many more. And the beautiful and talented Danielle Harris, Halloween 5, 6, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, and Urban Legends. If you love 80s campy slasher films, then this will certainly be right up your alley. It may not be pretty and glossy, but it's dirty, blood-spattered, and fun, with just the right amounts of offbeat comedy. Most true slasher lovers will appreciate this one. While it may not be a masterpiece, it's a damn good time. I highly recommend checking these films out if you haven't yet. My rating on this one is a 6 out of 10. The IMDb rating on this one is a 5.5 out of 10. And that pretty much wraps up my reviews for this review cast. I'd like to thank everybody that continues to listen to the show, help it grow, and supports it. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Again, I love talking to people about the show, so if you want to hit me up, again, Facebook.com/Average Joe's Drive-In Podcast, Instagram, Thomas Washburn Jr., Twitter, TWJ Author. You can also visit my .com, thomaswashburnjr.com. There's a lot of information on there about my books, just appearances that I'm making. I have a blog on there, other stuff. I'm really, really, really trying to update that more often this year. I have been really slack lately on doing that, and I've just decided I really, really, and I keep saying this, but I'm really going to try to update that more often. And, you know, just make that a more interactive experience for everybody. And you can, if you got questions and stuff, there is a thing on there so you can send a question. You know, once again, also, you know, if you want to help support the show, something that really helps me out, and it would also get you something, especially if you like horror. And, you know, even I do have a nonfiction book on there as well. But my books are available on Amazon.com. Just type in Thomas Washburn Jr. in the search, and my name should pop up. You'll be able to click on the books. Or type in www.amazon.com/author/Thomas Washburn Jr. And that will take you right to my author page. But what this does is, instead of having like a Patreon or something for people to donate money and all that, what this allows me to do is, by you guys buying the books, it helps me get a little extra income to put back into the show, to upgrade equipment, just to make it a better experience. And you guys get something out of it. You guys get a book. There's short stories. If you don't even like to read, there is an audiobook read by the awesome Eric Marner of the Movie Freaks, called Family Secrets. You know, it's a good one-way commute audiobook. I think it's 35-40 minutes long. Eric did an amazing job with it. That is up there. The books are available in Kindle and paperback formats as well. So every time you guys buy something on there, that money I put right back into the show. I don't make a lot of money from writing. I'm not writing is not my primary profession. It's something I do because I love to write. And I've been fascinated with horror for years, as I've mentioned many times on the show. It's something I enjoy doing, and, you know, it's a good way. So often people just ask for money. They just want you to donate or whatever, and that's fine. You know, if you love a show, it's a great way to support that show, especially with podcasts. Podcasting does cost money for us to do. There's hosting, equipment, and a lot of other stuff. And I'm not asking anybody to feel sympathy or anything like that, you know, but it's just a reality of doing a podcast. So instead of me just asking you to donate money, buy a couple of books. Even if you don't necessarily read, if you know somebody that does, buy a couple of books if you like the show. Like I said, it helps me out, and you get something back out of it. And maybe you'll enjoy them. If you do, I'd love for you to leave a rating on Amazon or whatever. And also, you know, last but not least, if you enjoy the podcast, whatever service you listen to the show on, please rate the show and just, you know, click on the little like thing. That's so huge. It helps bump the show up in the ratings, all that good stuff. Makes it more visible so other people can check it out. And also, you know, spread the word. Tell your friends that you like it. Share stuff. Anything, you know, it helps me out, and, you know, helps the show expand. And again, I hate to always, you know, I always feel like a complete asshole whenever I ask for anybody to do this sort of stuff, but it's a part of doing it, and I appreciate you guys listening to the show and making it fun for me to do. I do love doing the show. This is an absolute blast, and it's something I really look forward to doing every week, and the guest and just doing the movie reviews, and you know, I appreciate you listening and making it a fun experience for me. Please be sure to check out my awesome sponsors, the Maine Cannababes. Great group that's doing some amazing things. Go to maincannababes.com for more information on what they're about. I believe there are still a few 2018 characters, but I know they were pretty close to selling out the last I knew. So again, that's maincannababes.com. My next guest on Monday is the owner of Fluky Fiction, Kara Flannery. So I'm very much looking forward to talking to her. Though I also have a surprise guest coming in, I guess, but I don't want to say too much yet till it happens for sure. So you guys may be getting an extra episode this coming week. Anyway, thank you guys once again for tuning in. I am your host, TJ Washburn. You have been listening to Average Joe's Drive-In. I will see you sexy animals on the flip side.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.